Feel like the restaurant staff is laughing at you when you walk in? It could be because you're asking the wrong questions about your steak. To avoid looking clueless, steer clear of these common meaty mistakes next time. Ordering a steak well done is one of those choices that can almost guarantee a raised eyebrow. Just ask the late Anthony Bourdain, who knew his way around a kitchen and frequently warned that restaurants often reserve their toughest, lowest quality cuts for those who prefer their steak well done. After all, overcooking masks the meat's flaws, making imperfections less noticeable. But what if you absolutely crave your steak cooked to a level where it's practically unrecognizable? While chefs take pride in perfecting a dish, most will still prioritize customer service over personal preference, even if they think it ruins the steak. A good middle ground is ordering medium well. This way, you avoid the social stigma of well done, your steak will still have a touch of pink, and you won't be served the worst cut in the house. Plus, if you cut into it and it's just not to your liking, feel free to send it back and ask for a little more time on the grill. A little compromise can go a long way in preserving your steak experience. Social media is a great tool for discovering new restaurants or dishes, especially if you've spotted a mouth-watering steak on your feed. If you're curious about it at the restaurant, don't hesitate to ask your server. If that particular dish isn't available, they'll likely recommend something just as delicious. We're not judging anyone for ordering based on looks, unless you're eyeing something over the top, like a $1,000 filet mignon covered in gold leaf at a flashy Vegas spot. Sure, it might make you feel fancy, but paying extra for a gimmick like gold leaf probably won't give you the best value for your money. In the end, a well-cooked steak, free of extravagant trimmings, remains the ultimate classic. A1 was once known simply as steak sauce, but it's now marketed as original sauce to encourage its use beyond just steak. The reality is, many commercial steak sauces were designed to mask the flavor of lower quality meat. Packed with salt, acid, and sugar, these sauces could make even the worst cuts taste decent, though that's the problem. A great steak, when properly aged, lightly seasoned, and cooked to perfection, can be a culinary masterpiece. As the chef who put in the effort to prepare that perfect cut, imagine the frustration when a customer drowns it in a store-bought sauce full of vinegar and corn syrup. It's not just a waste of a good steak. It's downright disrespectful to the craftsmanship behind it.
Wow, could you be any stupider?
Ordering off-menu might seem like a way to impress, but it can come across as more fast food savvy than fine dining. When paying top dollar for a steak, it's best to trust the chef's expertise.
Only what's on the menu.
What might seem like a small tweak, like swapping capers for peppercorns, can be a big disruption for a busy kitchen. Many chefs simply won't entertain these changes, and even if they do, the dish likely won't get the attention it deserves. Restaurant management may also hesitate, fearing that off-menu requests could end up on social media, leading to a flood of similar orders. Of course, this doesn't apply if you have food allergies, or if you're making a simple request like asking for the sauce on the side. Those adjustments are a different story and usually much easier to accommodate. The special of the day can be a true culinary delight, but it's not always the case. When it's great, the chef may be showcasing fresh, seasonal ingredients or a unique cut that's available in limited supply, priced as a one-night treat. However, this is the exception rather than the rule. More often than not, the specials are designed to move ingredients that have been lingering in the kitchen for too long. While the steak may still taste fine, there's a good chance you're getting something that was almost headed for the trash. So, if you're unsure, it might be safer to stick to the regular menu. The old rule that red wine goes with beef and white wine with chicken or fish is a general guideline, but it doesn't capture the full range of possibilities. While a bold red still pairs perfectly with a rich steak, wine drinkers today have much more diverse tastes, and wine lists reflect that. With a wider variety of regional and specialty wines available, you can explore some unexpected yet sophisticated pairings, even with steak. For example, a rich oaky Chardonnay can complement a peppery steak au poivre with its acidity. An Argentinian steak pairs beautifully with a full-bodied semillon, which enhances the flavors of chimichurri. And if you're enjoying a dry-aged T-bone, an older Rioja Blanco with its nutty, honeyed notes can be an excellent match. Wine pairings are all about balancing flavors, so don't be afraid to experiment beyond the classic red. If you're a white wine fan or just feeling adventurous, ask the server or sommelier for their top picks. Alternatively, treat yourself to a bottle of champagne. Its versatility makes it a luxurious choice that's hard to go wrong with. When a server asks how you'd like your steak cooked, you typically choose from rare, medium, medium well, or well done. Each of these levels corresponds to a specific temperature range, but only skilled chefs can consistently hit the mark without a thermometer. The time it takes to reach the desired level of doneness varies based on the cut of beef, its thickness, and how hot the grill is. For instance, a medium rare steak should reach an internal temperature between 130 to 135 degrees, while medium falls between 140 140 to 145 degrees. For a 6 to 8 ounce steak, the difference between medium rare and medium is usually just about a minute on the grill. Now, if you ask for a medium plus, you're not demonstrating refined taste. You're more likely confusing the kitchen staff. This request doesn't exist as an official option and is likely to result in a steak cooked to medium well, which will be just fine for most people. So next time, stick to the classic terms unless you're aiming to throw the chef off balance.
Don't worry about that.
Steak tartare is made from high-quality raw beef, usually tenderloin or top round, finely minced and mixed with ingredients like capers, shallots, or other seasonings. It's typically served on crusty bread, toast points, or even potato chips. The key here is that the steak is always raw. Asking to have it cooked would be like telling a sushi chef you want your sashimi grilled, which could leave your server puzzled. A good server will always help explain the menu if needed, as it's part of their job. While shy diners might feel uneasy about asking questions, it's far better than ordering something unfamiliar, especially if it's pricey, only to regret it later. To avoid any surprises, take a quick look at the menu ahead of time. That way, you can look up any unfamiliar terms and enjoy your meal with confidence, without feeling awkward or lost. Ordering a blue steak, which is often touted on social media, may signal that you're more interested in trends than your own preferences. While the name suggests a blue hue, a blue steak actually has a deep red-purple center, showing it's just lightly seared and almost raw in the middle. To cook a steak blue, it's seared for about a minute or two on each side in an extremely hot pan, resulting in a browned exterior with a barely cooked raw center. This brings the steak to an internal temperature of about 115 to 120 degrees. But is it safe? For the most part, yes. High-end restaurants typically use the freshest cuts and maintain strict food safety standards. Plus, a proper sear on all sides ensures that any bacteria on the surface of the meat is eliminated. So, while it's a daring choice, a blue steak is usually safe to enjoy if prepared properly. A great steak dinner is meant to be savored, not rushed. Asking servers to speed things up can come across as demanding, putting your meal ahead of others. Running a busy restaurant is tough, so don't be surprised if this impatient attitude leads to frustration from the staff.
Don't fuck with people that handle your food.
Cooking a thick steak to medium takes at least 20 minutes, not including the resting time afterward. Rushing this process just isn't realistic. If you're in a rush, whether for a flight or a movie, grab a quality burger from a fast food spot instead. Save the steakhouse experience for when you can truly enjoy it without cutting corners or feeling pressed for time. Asking for salt at a quality steakhouse might seem harmless, but it's actually a bit of a rookie mistake. In these restaurants, chefs carefully season the steaks to their own standards, often adjusting flavors during cooking with kosher salt, which has a better texture. By the time your steak arrives, it should be perfectly seasoned, no extra salt needed. Adding table salt will only interfere with the carefully crafted balance of flavors the chef intended, so trust that the seasoning is already spot on.
No salt.
Many restaurants avoid using salt and pepper shakers due to hygiene concerns, seeing them as high-maintenance items. While stories of chefs dramatically confronting diners over seasoning are mostly exaggerated, it's okay to ask for extra salt if needed. If after a few bites you feel the dish could use a little more, go ahead and request a shaker. It's better to ask than suffer through a steak you're not fully enjoying. The tomahawk steak is essentially a bone-in ribeye, often large enough to feed 2 or more people. Ribeye is well loved for its rich flavor, tender marbling, and substantial size, and the tomahawk version has become especially trendy thanks to its impressive, dramatic appearance on social media. When it comes to steak decisions, ordering the tomahawk isn't a major mistake, as long as you know what you're getting. The price is usually based on weight, but a large portion of that weight comes from the bone, not the meat itself. At upscale spots, a Japanese Wagyu tomahawk could set you back $1,000, while a more typical restaurant may still charge upwards of $150 for one, despite the ribeye without the bone costing much less. Ultimately, it's up to you whether the premium for the presentation is worth it, but be prepared for that hefty markup.